Contrary to the popular belief that love is only for the young, when passion and excitement seem inextricably linked to youth, reality paints a different picture. Feelings know no age limits, and the heart can burn with the same intensity at 60 as it does at 20. However, as time passes, love transforms, acquiring new shades of depth, awareness, and authenticity. Mature men who have gone through life's trials, built careers, raised children, and experienced the bitterness of loss and the joy of victory, no longer seek fleeting infatuations and superficial glamour. What becomes important to them is not just the presence of someone nearby, but closeness with someone with whom they can share moments of silence and joy, with a woman who accepts them as they are, without trying to change or remake them. They seek someone with whom they can greet each morning and spend each evening in an atmosphere of warmth and tranquility. But what really matters to a man who has crossed the threshold of 60? What qualities in a woman evoke genuine respect, attraction, and a desire to be near? These are the questions we will try to answer in order to uncover the secrets of mature love and understand what makes the union of two hearts truly strong and lasting. First and foremost, it is about sincere attention and the art of listening, which become especially valuable to a man over the years. A mature man appreciates in a woman not so much an abundance of words, but her ability to attentively perceive his speech. It is important for him not only to express himself, but also to feel that his words resonate and are understood. In youth, you may not pay attention to interruptions or inattentiveness to your words, but a mature man instantly notices such manifestations and draws appropriate conclusions. He shares his thoughts and memories not to demonstrate oratorical skills, but out of a desire to be understood and accepted. He may indulge in memories of the past, reflect on the present, and share his views on the future. It is important for him that in these moments the woman is nearby, not distracted by her phone and not showing absent-mindedness. He feels it in his heart. It is important for a man to see genuine interest in the woman's eyes, light questions, clarifications, and a sincere reaction. It is in this that respect is manifested, in the ability to be present not only physically, but also mentally. A man strives to be not just a background in a woman's life, but a significant part of her inner world. When he is listened to, he opens up and feels needed. When he is ignored, he withdraws into himself. In his mature age, he no longer has the desire to fight for attention. He simply goes where he feels in demand. A woman who possesses the gift of listening not only perceives words, but also feels what lies behind them. She catches intonations, moods, and pauses. She does not interrupt, does not rush, and does not divert the conversation too. Another topic. Her attention is like a soft warmth in which a man relaxes and finds peace of mind. The art of being present is not just physical presence, but a subtle ability to keep silent when necessary and to find the right words at the right moment, listening not only with the ears, but also with the heart. For a man who has reached maturity, this ability becomes more valuable than external attractiveness. His gaze penetrates deep into the woman, assessing not only her appearance, but also her spiritual qualities. If she knows how to show attention and treat his words with care, he sees in her not just a companion, but a reliable friend whom he can trust. It is on this foundation that relationships are built, which do not require constant proof, but are based on mutual sincerity. Understanding and emotional support play a huge role. Over time, a person faces various trials, losses, disappointments, and changes that leave their mark on his heart. A mature man no longer seeks passions and emotional storms. He seeks the silence in which his inner world can find peace. A woman who can create this atmosphere of tranquility becomes invaluable to him. It is important for him to know that there is someone nearby who understands him without words, does not judge, does not instruct, and does not point out, but simply shares his feelings. Understanding is not blind agreement with everything he says, but deep empathy, the ability to look at the world through his eyes, to feel his experiences even when he is silent. A man who has crossed the 60-year mark often prefers to remain silent about his problems, to keep much to himself. A woman who feels his condition does not require unnecessary explanations, does not ask unnecessary questions, but gives him the necessary peace. This is not a manifestation of weakness, but a sign of maturity and wisdom, creating an atmosphere of inner security. He seeks not advice, but support. Sometimes he needs only one glance to feel that he is not alone, that next to him is not a judge or a critic, but a faithful ally. In his youth, when he was full of strength and energy, he was accustomed to overcoming all difficulties on his own. However, now, with the passage of time, he especially values the presence of someone nearby who is simply there, without any conditions, pressure, or high expectations. This support can be quiet and almost imperceptible, manifesting in the way a woman addresses him, how she looks at him, how she makes no demands when he feels tired. It manifests in a carefully prepared cup of tea, a gentle touch, words of encouragement and support. And the man feels this unmistakably. In such moments, he can relax, take off his heavy armor, stop pretending, and be himself. He no longer needs to constantly demonstrate his strength. He can simply be a living, real person. Such a woman becomes for him not just a life partner, but a true home, a place he wants to return to again and again, where he is awaited not out of a sense of duty, but out of sincere love, where he is understood without unnecessary words. And this support becomes the most valuable foundation in life, healing emotional wounds and giving strength to love even more deeply than before. Another important aspect is respect for his personality, experience, and views. With age, a man needs less and less recognition from the outside world. For him, respect from the one person who is nearby is much more important. This respect must be sincere, not contrived, demonstrative, or ostentatious. With age, after 60, a man no longer strives for arguments, does not try to prove his point or defend his position. He has already gone through all these stages. Now he is looking for a woman who will accept him as he is, with all his peculiarities, habits, and beliefs. Respect is manifested in the small things, in how a woman speaks about him, not only in his presence, but also behind his back, in how she pronounces his name, in the words she chooses when sharing her thoughts with friends. These words can convey pride or irritation, admiration or ridicule, and a man always feels it. He unmistakably determines when he is admired and when he is perceived as an inconvenience or simply as a habit. It is extremely important for a mature man that a woman does not try to re-educate him. He has already formed his own view of life, developed certain interests, rituals, and habits, whether it be a love of reading in the morning, a passion for gardening, fishing, or music. He does not want all this to be ridiculed or criticized. A woman who respects his hobbies, even if she does not share them, becomes incredibly valuable to him. Respect is the ability to hear and accept another point of view, even if you disagree with it. It is the ability to speak without acrimony, without sarcasm, without pressure. It's a calm. I think differently, but I understand you. In mature age, a man is no longer looking for admiration. He strives for a partnership in which his inner world will not be destroyed. It is next to a woman who respects him that a man feels that he is not just getting older, but becoming wiser, stronger, and more significant. He realizes that he is valued not for youth, not for achievements, not for appearance, but for who he really is. This gives a man strength, strengthens his self-confidence, and awakens the desire to build a future life not alone, but next to a woman who sincerely respects both his past and his present. The fourth important aspect is care, manifested in specific actions and not just in empty promises. Over the years, even the strongest men feel tired of the constant need to be a support for others. They need to feel someone nearby who will show care not out of a sense of duty or pity, but out of sincere love. Care in mature age becomes not just a pleasant addition, but a vital necessity. It is not about grand gestures or ostentatious acts, but about subtle, almost imperceptible participation, which is felt in the simplest details. A cup of fragrant tea on a cool evening, a warm scarf carefully draped over the shoulders, a non-intrusive reminder. You look tired, maybe you should rest today. A man does not always openly admit to feeling unwell, but he is very sensitive to the manifestation of sincere care. And a woman who makes no demands, does not reproach, but simply quietly stays nearby, becomes a real source of warmth for him. Care is the art of being needed, without intrusively invading personal space, but simply being there. It is the ability to understand when to be silent and when to support with an encouraging word. It is the ability not to exert pressure, but to be there in a difficult moment. Care can be manifested in simple things, such as reminding him to take his medication or offering help around the house. For a man, these are not just everyday trifles, but important signals. You are important to me. I love you. Care is a gentle voice that says, I'm here, I'm close, and you're not alone, especially at an age when health is no longer so strong, and the feeling of loneliness can strike suddenly. However, true care is not control. It's not the reproachful question, why didn't you do this again, but the affectionate, how can I help you? It's not limiting freedom, but sincere support. And a man, feeling such care, opens up, becomes softer, warmer, and more generous. He strives to be near the one who made his day a little easier simply because she cares about his well-being. Such care cannot be replaced by expensive gifts or beautiful compliments, because it lies not in words, but in actions and feelings that a man feels with his heart. A woman for a man is not just a companion, but the chosen one of his heart. However, care blossoms in full force when it is illuminated by inner serenity and joy, and it is this state of mind that becomes especially valuable in the eyes of a mature man. The fifth thing he seeks is a positive attitude and ease in communication. Over the years, men get tired of discord, grumbling, and a depressing atmosphere. They loathe the need to constantly argue, sort things out, and live surrounded by reproaches and claims. They strive for light, spiritual warmth, for a woman next to whom they can be themselves and find peace. It is qualities such as cheerfulness, optimism, goodwill, and inner lightness that become incredibly attractive. This is not about a strained smile or fake fun. A man appreciates someone in whom there is a love of life, the ability to notice the good and rejoice in the little things. There are women who, over the years, become increasingly grumpy and dissatisfied, as if in a mode of constant reproach. But there are also those who, even after severe trials, keep spring in their souls, bright, warm, and sincere. With such a woman, you want to walk, laugh, watch movies, discuss news, just drink tea and talk about everything and nothing. She does not blame, does not criticize, and does not drain energy, but, on the contrary, inspires to live, share, and stay close. A man feels that with her, every day is not a burden, but a joy. A woman's positive attitude creates an atmosphere to which you want to return. She does not extinguish the light around, but ignites it, and a mature man especially keenly feels this, because he knows how much darkness there is in the world. Next to such a woman, he seems to become younger. Her laughter, kind look, and ability not to dramatize situations become a source of strength for him. She does not ignore difficulties, but does not drown in them either. Her presence is like air, light, lively, and free. It is this woman that a mature man chooses with his heart, because with her it is calm, joyful, and easy, and because her spiritual light warms more than any words. However, even the kindest and most positive attitude cannot save a relationship if there is no true feeling of unity between people. Therefore, another important thing that men especially appreciate after 60 is what unites and truly brings them closer. The sixth important aspect of mature relationships is the commonality of interests and intellectual harmony. When passionate ardor gives way to more mature feelings, the inner need to be near a person with whom it is interesting to walk through life comes to the fore. A mature man seeks to see in his companion not just a housewife, but a like-minded person with whom he shares common hobbies and views. This may be a love of literature, joint walks in nature, a passion for cinema, gardening, culinary art, music, or simply heartfelt conversations in the evenings. The main thing is the presence of common ground that makes their union alive and strong. Common interests are not an obligation, but a source of joy from living each day together. These are the moments when words are superfluous, when one glance is enough, when communication flows freely, and silence becomes comfortable and warm. This is a discussion of the work of a favorite writer, a joint viewing of an old film, reading news reports, and exchanging views on current issues. All this creates that unique sense of unity. We are together, we do not just exist side by side, we share this life. A mature man highly values a woman with whom it is not only pleasant to spend the evening, but with whom there is something to talk about. Intellectual intimacy becomes a solid foundation for spiritual rapprochement. This does not mean that both partners must be scientists or philosophers. It is important to be able to listen to each other, think, analyze, and discuss even the simplest things without quarrels and mutual reproaches. Joint care of the garden, preparing dinner, or a leisurely walk in the park can become sources of sincere joy if they are filled with a sense of community. And vice versa, when everyone lives their own life and the dialogue between partners fades away, the relationship gradually fades. That's why a mature man seeks a woman with whom he shares a common emotional and spiritual space, with whom he wants to plan weekends, build joint plans, even if they are modest. After all, being together is not only about sharing everyday life, but also sharing an interest in life itself. Common interests fill the relationship with meaning, create a favorable ground for personal growth, for intimacy, and for new, vivid memories. It is important for a man to feel, I am interested with her, I am not alone with her, and then even the most ordinary day acquires a special value. However, even with common interests and spiritual closeness, relationships cannot fully develop without open and honest communication. That is why another key need of a man after 60 is clarity and sincerity in expressing feelings. The seventh important aspect of mature relationships is the ability to openly and calmly express your feelings and desires. Over the years, a man is less and less inclined to decipher hints and guess the mood of his partner. He does not want to be a hostage to understatement, silent grievances, and hidden claims. For him, the presence of a woman who can speak directly, but with gentleness, kindness, and without reproaches, becomes especially valuable. Sincere communication, calm dialogue, and the ability to voice their anxieties or joys become a source of trust and peace. When a woman openly declares, I don't like this, or I feel lonely, it doesn't scare a mature man. On the contrary, he feels that she can be trusted. After all, silence, hidden emotions, and passive aggression can destroy even the strongest relationships, while simple and honest words have healing power. A man appreciates a woman with whom you can calmly discuss any problem without shouting and accusations, who does not go into herself, does not accumulate grievances, and does not resort to silent punishment. He seeks to see an adult nearby, and not an offended girl. The ability to speak out your feelings is a sign of maturity, trust, and respect for your partner. If a woman does not like something, let her say it. If she wants something new, let her suggest it. If something pleases her, let her share her joy. Men are pleased to hear that their actions cause positive emotions. It is important for them to know that they make their partner happy. A mature man does not strive for conflict, but does not avoid honest conversations. He understands that it is through dialogue that mutual understanding is born, and mutual understanding, in turn, strengthens intimacy. A woman who knows how to speak with love, even about difficult things, becomes a real treasure for a man. With her, you do not need to guess, be afraid to say too much, or restrain yourself. With her, you can be yourself. In adulthood, the most valuable gift is the ability to accept your partner as they are. Sincerity and emotional closeness are certainly important, but attempts to change another person, especially a mature man, can destroy even the strongest relationships. A man who has come a long way of self-determination painfully perceives such encroachments on his personality. After 60 years, a man no longer seeks the role of a student who is being re-educated. He does not intend to abandon his established habits and views for the sake of someone else's expectations. He does not need to meet other people's ideas about what he should be. On the contrary, he is looking for a woman who accepts him without criticism, pressure, and the desire to remake him. Acceptance begins with the small, with respectful attitude to his habits, hobbies, and rhythm of life. If he likes to read the newspaper at breakfast, spend time in the garden, or listen to his favorite music, a woman who perceives this with understanding creates an atmosphere of security and comfort. But if she laughs, gets annoyed, or tries to change him, the man moves away. A mature man subtly feels manipulation. Unlike youth, he will not argue and convince, but simply close emotionally, and then, possibly, physically. He has come too long to become himself, and will not allow anyone to mold a convenient image out of him again. A woman who knows how to accept allows a man to be real, without hiding weaknesses and without being ashamed of past mistakes. In this acceptance, he finds the deepest relief and peace. This does not mean agreeing with everything, but respecting the boundaries of another person, his history, and the way of existence in the world. It is not necessary to share all his interests, but each of them should be accepted as part of his personality. Acceptance is a recognition. I see you, I understand you, and I choose to be with you. When a man feels this, he opens up from a new side, showing tenderness, generosity, and care. He becomes who he can only be, next to the one who gives him the right to be himself. When there is acceptance, care, and sincere communication, another important feeling arises: trust. It is on it that a man's confidence in the strength of the relationship and their future is built. In 9th place in the list of priorities of a mature man is trust and a sense of stability. In his 60s, after years of self-realization filled with triumphs and defeats, a mature man is interested in a reliable partner who won't suddenly disappear, leaving only emptiness behind. He's no longer inclined towards emotional turmoil and games, but seeks inner support and confidence in the future. Trust is manifested not in grand promises, but in consistency of actions, sincerity, and predictability. This means that a woman doesn't abandon him in moments of weakness, doesn't reproach him in difficult times, and doesn't withdraw into resentment without explanation. A man needs to be sure that she will be there without threats, manipulations, or emotional blackmail. A mature man is particularly sensitive to distrust and lies. He doesn't want to play guessing games, check up, and be afraid, but strives for peace of mind in the relationship. When a woman gives him this peace, he opens up in response, entrusting her with his feelings and weaknesses, which is the highest form of intimacy. Stability for a mature man is not routine, but reliability. It's the confidence that plans won't be disrupted by emotional outbursts, and the ability to calmly talk about the future, knowing that the words won't be empty. Such a relationship becomes a safe haven, not a raging storm. It is this kind of woman, calm, predictable, and honest, who becomes a source of strength for a man. Trust is the foundation of everything, and in its presence, a man is ready to invest all his time, soul, and mature love into the relationship. However, even with trust, care, respect, and sincerity, a man continues to strive for a sense of his own worth, especially in his mature years, when many social roles lose their significance. It's important for him to feel needed and valued, and the woman's attitude toward his life's journey plays a key role here. It's important to acknowledge the significance, accumulated experience, and inner strength of a man who has crossed the 60-year mark. This is not just an aging person, but a personality with a rich history behind them. Decades of work, overcoming difficulties, making important decisions about the fates of loved ones. Even if he's not a hero in the generally accepted sense, his life's journey deserves deep respect. A woman who can see and appreciate this recognizes his value not only as a husband or partner, but also as a unique individual, which in turn strengthens his inner confidence and gives him a sense of peace of mind. A man longs to realize that his opinion matters, that his life experience is not useless baggage from the past, but a valuable resource. When a woman asks him for advice, is sincerely interested in his point of view, expresses gratitude for the support provided, he feels needed and in demand. This is especially important in today's world, where older people are often relegated to the background, considering them less important. It's vitally important for a man to feel that his contribution to the family, to the relationship with his partner, to her life as a whole, is appreciated, that his efforts don't go unnoticed, that his decisions are respected, and that his life's journey is accepted with full understanding. Even if a man is silent and doesn't express his desires aloud, he still feels when he is respected and acknowledged, and when he is taken for granted. A woman who knows how to not only say words of gratitude, but also fill them with sincere meaning, is able to breathe new life into a man, awaken new strength and aspirations in him. When a man realizes that there is a person next to him who values not only his actions, but also his inner essence, he stays around for a long time, remains with love and devotion. Recognition is not just admiration or flattery, it's a deep, sincere respect for who he has become, gratitude for the years spent together, and a willingness to be there not out of a sense of pity or fear of loneliness, but out of a conscious desire to support and share life with such a mature, strong, and wise person. Love that blossoms after 60 finds its greatness in the awareness of human fragility. This is not an echo of bygone years, but a bright ray illuminating the present. It doesn't strive for youthful ardor and external perfection, but grows out of honesty, deep respect, and spiritual maturity. At this age, men are looking not so much for perfect features as for a true heart. A woman who is able to listen attentively, show empathy, respect personal space, care with tenderness, and speak frankly becomes for them not just a companion, but a vitally necessary part of the soul. They don't burst into such relationships with noise, but enter carefully and consciously with a sense of deep gratitude. Genuine intimacy doesn't need loud declarations. It manifests itself in silence, in caring attitude, in a respectful look, in an offered cup of tea, or a light touch. It consists in being there not because of the fear of being alone, but out of a sincere desire to share your life with someone who is truly deep.